Welcome back to this month's edition of ThirdEye View. I'm Jing, part of the growth team here at ThirdEye, and with me today is our CAM-certified AML solution specialist, Colin Dixon.
Well, there's a lot of action in Australia in the next few months with the reforms for the existing reporting entities and introduction of Tranche 2. So we're going to focus on those areas today.
Well, firstly, I think it's important to remind people of the key dates. The Tranche 2 reporting entities, the key dates are 31 March, enrolment opens with AUSTRAC, and by 1 July, Tranche 2 reporting entities, your obligation starts to apply. For the existing reporting entities, the reform applies from 31 March.
Well, those dates are getting close, so it's time to make sure that you'll be in a position to comply. AUSTRAC are not expecting perfection by those dates, but they are expecting you to have a program in place and be in the process of implementing it.
Well, Colin, let's start with Tranche 2, as AUSTRAC have been recently giving more guidance.
Well, that's right. AUSTRAC have done a great job releasing a lot of guidance for the reforms for existing reporting entities and for Tranche 2 reporting entities. There's a top-level menu called Reforms on their website where you can find all this information. Tranche 2 reporting entities can use the starter kits, and there's one for each type of business. There's a wealth of information in the starter kits which will guide you through the process of setting up your AML CTF program and ensuring that it's fit for purpose. The key thing to remember here is that you're setting up the program that suits your business, that assesses your risks, that puts policies and processes in place that work for you. You're not copying a program from a template or an apparently similar business. Over the years, I've heard stories of documentation that includes the name of another reporting entity, which is a clear sign that the document's been copied. So don't fall into that trap. You need to think for yourself.
Thanks, Colin. Well, let's move on to the changes for existing reporting entities. The set of pages on AUSTRAC's website under the reform includes a lot of information for the existing reporting entities.
That's right. There's a lot of detail there about the changes. I won't go into the specific changes, but you need to assess which changes are relevant to your business and what you need to do about them. What I want to talk about is the change in focus of AUSTRAC's supervision towards an effective program that's risk-based and focused on outcomes, in addition to compliance.
Colin, can you go into a bit more details, please, and just explain what is meant by an effective, risk-based, and also outcome-focused?
Well, the purpose of the legislation is to reduce the level of financial crimes and thereby reduce the harm caused by those crimes. In effect, to protect our communities and make the country safer. So let's look at each of those values separately. An outcomes-focused program is one that's geared towards those ends. It means that you're spending your time and effort preventing, detecting and reporting financial crimes, rather than spending all your time ensuring that you tick all the compliance boxes. Compliance is important, but it's not the ultimate reason for having a financial crime program. A risk-based program is one that focuses on your higher risks. That doesn't mean ignoring your lower risks, but it does mean viewing them as a lower priority so that you can focus your time on higher risks. Effective means that you have appropriate controls in place to address your risks, that those controls are preventing or detecting those risks, and that you're continually tuning your controls to ensure that they stay effective. Having a program that's compliant with the law doesn't necessarily equate to having an effective program. We'll see this with the upcoming FATF mutual evaluation, which will address technical compliance and effectiveness separately.
An effective, risk-based, outcome-focused program, what does it look like?
Well, as a reporting entity, the ultimate outcome that you should be trying to achieve is sending reports to AUSTRAC that help them create intelligence to pass to law enforcement agencies. From a transaction monitoring point of view, that means ensuring that you have rules to cover your risks, and in particular, your higher risks. I'll take cash as an example, but the principles apply more widely. It's very easy to put some rules in place to identify high cash use and claim that they cover your risks. That may make you compliant, but are those rules uncovering anything? If your thresholds are too low so that you pick up lots of cash activity, you may not miss anything, but you're swamping your team with unnecessary noise, and they'll become complacent when they are reviewing alerts. If you set your thresholds too high, you risk missing something that you shouldn't. If you treat all customers as equal, you fail to address expected differences between the cash use of people and businesses, or high and low wealth customers, for example. You should be tuning your rules in two ways. Firstly, to avoid any obviously unnecessary alerts, to give your analysts more time per alert. Secondly, to uncover more reportable cases, so your team can use their time analysing and reporting those cases. When you detect something that's reportable, you should report it promptly. The legislation gives you 3 days for informing reasonable grounds for suspicion, but that doesn't mean that you should wait 3 days to report it. If AUSTRAC and other agencies receive your reports quickly, they can act on their information more promptly, thereby helping to reduce the harm caused by those crimes. So check those 3 values. It's risk-based if cash is high risk for your business. If your business customers are a higher risk than your personal customers, your rules might have a wider scope for businesses than people. It's effective if you're picking up cash transactions that need reporting and are not picking up too much noise of normal behaviour, and you're tuning your rules as you learn more about their behaviour. It's outcome focused if you're reporting promptly to help prevent and deter further crimes.
If I can summarize our discussion, Colin, compliance is important. You need to have a program in place with policies, processes, and procedures to detect and report money laundering, terrorism financing, and proliferation financing. But compliance isn't enough. You need to make sure that your program is producing the right outcome.
That's a good summary, Jing. My final thought is that when your rule has raised an alert, do your analysts know how to investigate that alert effectively? Do they have the knowledge of your business and the analytical skills, or do they need training? Do they have enough time to do the job properly, or are they just rushing through closing alerts without enough thought?
Well, that's it for this edition of ThirdEye View. You'll find links to the guidance on our website along with the blog post that accompanies this episode. As always, we will love to hear from you, whether you have questions, thoughts, or feedback. So please do reach out. We will be back next month with more updates and insights from the world of financial crime. See you then.